Hey guys, I'm Mr. Davis, and I'm here today at Fleet Feet in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I'm gonna let this man introduce himself.
All right, I'm Stan. I work at Fleet Feet Fayetteville. I run a little bit, I guess, and I know some stuff about some shoes.
All right. Today, the reason we're making these videos is we just want to answer some questions about the importance of proper fitting running shoes and how that can work with injury prevention and protecting our bodies and really making sure we get properly fit. After the Q&A, there'll be a second video where we actually go through the fitting process and we have someone demonstrate that. So first thing I'm going to ask is tell us the importance of having running shoes and proper fitting running shoes and how that can help us prevent injuries.
Yeah, so proper fitting running shoes, it's all about, right? Someone said it before, it's like getting the right tires for your car. You don't want to put the incorrect tires on it because you're just going to have all sorts of problems. When you get the proper fitting shoe, right, as far as the width, the length, it just alleviates a lot of issues, right? It's like hammer toe, bunions, anything like that. It just allows your foot room to breathe, move, and do what it wants to do as you're moving. You don't want your foot really constrained and kind of strangled in your shoe.
Okay. Are there different types of shoes that are made to accommodate different types of feet, and what would those be?
Yeah, so the two big categories that we have are going to be your neutral shoes and then your stability shoes as well. Another kind of subset of that is we can do wide, regular, extra wide, and then we don't carry them, but you can do narrow as well. Just something to accommodate all that. And then the next thing we're going to look at is the amount of cushioning on your shoe too. Do you want some more cushion, less cushion? You know, we look at past shoes that you've used before, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and then from there we're going to kind of help custom tailor all that to find what's best for you.
Okay. So what is the basic process of getting proper shoes, properly fitting shoes?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we'll do the scan, but what that's going to look at is, again, it's looking at the width, the length of your foot, your arch height, your pressure points, all that stuff. And from there, we're also looking at your activities, because if you're walking versus if you want to run 100 miles, two totally different shoes that you're going to want. Are you walking on road? Are you doing trail? And so we use all that information with that scan to help find one of these shoes that's going to best fit you.
Okay. I know we've brought some shoes out, so if you can kind of just walk us through what they are, what kind of foot or runner they might fit, and the characteristics of each real quick.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll start here. We'll start with the Arahi first. This is the Hoka Arahi. This is going to be a stability shoe for you. So this is going to be one of those ones if you're pronating a little bit or that collapsing of the ankle, it just puts a little bit of extra medial support in the back to help prop that foot up. What's important to note with stability shoes is that they don't correct pronation, they don't prevent injuries, anything like that. All they're designed to do is extend the life of your shoe, because when you pronate, you're going to put extra wear on the inside of your shoes, and so by having that extra medial support right there, it's just going to help even that out. The next one we'll go to is going to be the Brooks Adrenaline. So this is still a stability shoe, but what's unique about this is the fact that it's not just for pronating, it's also for supinating. So if you look at it, right, you have the guide rails on the inside, but if you flip it around, you have the guide rails on the outside too. So if we see someone who's pronating or supinating, we're going to go with this one. Okay. Another thing to note with that, though, if you're supinating, 9 times out of 10, we are going to go with a regular neutral shoe, right? It just eliminates any sort of that medial support or that support on the outside. It's just going to, again, be a regular shoe for you. The next thing we're going to look at here is the difference between a flexible arch and a rigid arch, which we'll see on the scan a little bit. And it just tells us how much movement is actually in your shoe as you're walking. And from there, you want to look at a couple different things, right? It's the overall support and structure of that shoe. So the Bondi being a neutral shoe, right, it doesn't have a lot of bend and give. Oh, yeah. So this would be something good for a flexible arch, just helping to extend that life of the shoe for you. Conversely, if we look at the Kinvara here, this is one of those ones, if you have a super rigid arch, it's going to have a lot of bending and movement in there. Yeah. So it's again, you don't with a rigid arch, you don't have to worry about as much moving. So we don't have to worry about extending that life as much.
So it really looks like you're trying to match a shoe that moves the way your foot moves.
Exactly.
Not fight that movement, just kind of go with it.
Yep. So you said it perfectly. Find the shoe that matches the movement of your foot. And the second part of that is going to be the insole selection for it as well, right? Shoes are meant for the masses. A shoe that they can just sell to anybody, put on their feet, it does great. And so we also use that scan to find an insole to help customize this just a little bit further to you. Again, just finding something that's going to move and bend with your foot.
Would insoles be a good option for like athletes that have to wear cleats and something where you can't necessarily get a shoe made for it, but Is that something we could add in to prevent injuries for those type of athletes?
I'll say yes with a little caveat or an asterisk, right? As long as those cleats have an insole that you can take out or a sock liner you can take out, because you don't want to fill up any extra space in there. I know cleats also run a little narrow. We can trim that insole to them as well. Again, it's just as long as it's not filling up any or too much space that's going to compress on your foot. But overall, 9 times out of 10, yes, it's going to be a good option.
Awesome.
Just giving you a little bit extra support, a little bit of extra cushion.
Great. All right, guys, that kind of wraps up our Q&A here in a second here. In the next video, you're going to see us go through a demonstration of actually fitting somebody for running shoes.